Welcome to Viewing and Reviewing, where I pull older movies off the shelf, watch them, and let you know if I believe they're worth your time to watch or not. I'm Bobby T, your online video store clerk, and I'll be searching through my VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray collection to find titles that I think may be interesting to review. In today's episode, I'll be reviewing 1990's Coupe de Ville, directed by Joe Roth and starring Daniel Stern, Arye Gross, Patrick Dempsey, and the criminally underappreciated Alan Arkin. Let me read you the DVD cover. A comedy for anyone who ever struggled to love a brother, or strangle one. Three very different brothers reluctantly reunite for a 1,500-mile car trip in the heartwarming comedy Coupe de Ville. At the request of their domineering father, Alan Arkin, the trio of Patrick Dempsey, Arye Gross, and Daniel Stern find themselves driving a classic 1954 powder blue Cadillac Coupe de Ville from Detroit to Miami for their mother's 50th birthday. The race is on to see if the bickering brothers can get there on time without damaging the car or each other. Exceptional performances blend with a lively soundtrack in this memorable and lighthearted comedy. Well, I guess they forgot to list on the DVD cover what y'all are watching on the trailer now, and that's that this film was based in the late 50s or early 60s, and it looks really good. Seeing those three young actors playing brothers was a sheer joy in a pleasant comedy filled with surprises at every turn. Daniel Stern plays the older, chronically anal brother Marvin, who just got out of the Air Force and is stuck babysitting his younger brothers one last time before he can forget them and move on with his life. Patrick Dempsey plays the youngest brother Bobby, who's about to get thrown out of yet another reform school in one of his most honest portrayals of the pain-in-the-ass little brother we all know to either love or hate. Arye Gross plays the level-headed middle brother Buddy, who just graduated college and is smitten with a girl who barely knows, but he can't wait to see once they get to Florida, if he can keep peace between the two hot-headed brothers surrounding him. Alan Arkin is comedy gold as the domineering father that hates getting collect calls from the boys on the road and demands the boys deliver the car in pristine condition by Mom's birthday or else. And Marvin's in charge of the trip and the TV, and everyone hates it. What happens over the course of the next 1,500 miles is exactly what you'd expect when these boys are thrown together against their wills and have to either learn to get along to survive or die. And if betting Uncle Phil in Miami would lay odds, he put all of his money on one or all of the boys murdering each other along the way. Now, I remember seeing this when it first came out on VHS in the video store and absolutely loving it. The comedy's quick and real between three brothers who truly loathe each other's existence. What kind of threw me in the opening was how when the boys are cast very young in the opening, they actually got a kid to play young Daniel Stern's character that looked exactly like Daniel Stern. And they just dubbed in his voice. I mean, that was cool. But once the boys were reunited in the car at Bobby's reform school, we knew we were in for a bumpy ride when Bobby asks Marvin to pull over so he can yell insults at the school administrator. But Marvin doesn't drive away until the administrator is given the opportunity to return fire directly in Bobby's face. It's one of my favorite scenes in the film, amongst so many. The boys fight the entire way, but not before they get pulled over for speeding, give unlicensed Bobby driving lessons while Marvin sleeps, learn that the words to Louie Louie are or are not a humping song. They help Buddy overcome his lifelong car sickness on a bridge too far, along with so much more. Once they get into Florida, all kinds of new hell awaits as Buddy goes to visit his girl only to find she has a boyfriend who doesn't take kindly to Buddy sleeping with her under his own roof. Imagine that. The whole time, Alan Arkin is impatiently waiting for the collect calls where he berates one and all of the boys to let him know Marvin is in charge and the car better be perfect or else. His character's arc doesn't change a whole lot, but he's a joy to watch nonetheless in this forgotten gem of a film. So, my overall report card of the film looks like this. Does it stand the test of time? For a film set over a half a century ago, yeah, this is a solid A effort. The comedy stands up, the sets are lovely, and the acting's first rate. This is how a retro film is supposed to look and feel. The story. Well, I really like the story. I'll give it a B+. It's not all that groundbreaking, but it felt comfortable. Maybe it's because I come from a family of three brothers where I'm the middle and we all have strong personalities so that I can relate so well. But these guys actually felt like they hated each other from birth, and it translated well to the screen. Add in Arkin's curmudgeonly overbearing father, and you can see the wheels falling off the road trip long before any damage is actually done to the Cadillac. Now, the cast is a solid A. The three brothers are perfection in their roles. Not a single weak spot. Arkin and Rita Taggart are the parents that have an excellent married for decades relationship that makes you wonder yet understand how such a gracious and loving woman could stand such a jerk for so many years. But the supporting cast are all actors you'll recognize from other films, and the casting department really hit a home run with this one. The cinematography. This is a well-filmed movie. I'll give it a B+, since it has the fatal flaw of being a retro film without having the ability to be authentic. That being said, I really felt like it was the swan song of the pre-Beatles generation with its simplicity and easygoing atmosphere for most of the trip. One scene in particular, as they travel along the long bridge where the highway doesn't have any rest stops and Buddy gets sick, is a riot and looked so real. Anytime a film can write in the surroundings as part of the story is always doing it right. The music. It's authentic for the setting, and I'll give it a B. They're all greatest hits songs from the era so that you'll recognize. They really couldn't do any wrong. And again, their use of Louie Louie as a plot device is some good writing and acting right there. So based on the above scores, I'd have to rate this film a very solid B+, bordering dangerously close to an A-. This film has been forgotten, and it really shouldn't be. I'm wondering if part of it is because people want to remember the stars for their older characters in the Home Alone series and the Grey's Anatomy. This film perfectly captures some of the last days of innocence before the JFK assassination, Vietnam, and Beatlemania. It felt warm and enjoyable as I watched, and it only seems to get aged better and the older I get. If you can find this movie, I believe you may want to take a trip with these crazy brothers also. So, here are a few other recommendations along the same vein. One of the greatest road movies ever is Midnight Run, with Robert De Niro's bounty hunter tracking down Charles Grodin's mild-mannered but not so easily transported accountant on the run from the mob, the FBI, and rival bounty hunters. I just watched this a couple years ago, and with the recent passing of Charles Grodin, it deserves to be remembered as the classic road film that it is. The Sure Thing, another road comedy with oil and water John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga traveling together cross-country to get to Cusack's Sure Thing date with Nicolette Sheridan in L.A. Rob Reiner's directorial debut that wasn't This Is Spinal Tap, and you won't be disappointed watching this. And lastly, Staying Together. This is the story of three close brothers in a small town who find their idyllic life shattered when their father sells the family business they were all intending on making their own someday. This is another one of those casting coups that brought together a huge cast of excellent actors that just make the simple story that much more watchable in their relationships on screen. Well, that's it for Coupe de Ville. If you enjoyed the review, please be sure to click the like button below. If you want to keep up to date on my future reviews, please click on the subscribe button below. If you want to purchase Coupe de Ville on DVD, or if you wish to purchase any of the other titles I've mentioned earlier, please follow the Amazon links below, and I'll get a small residual if you're so inclined. If you have any suggestions for movies you'd like me to review, please leave a comment below, and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be sure to help others in need, because it's always the right thing to do. Have a great week.